Alright guys, so we're now back in The Sims 4 for the entire day of like 12 or 16 hours. I have been working on a new build. I actually, aka, kind of started this yesterday and I just left Sims 4 on all night. Don't do that. I did it last night and I don't know if I'm doing it again tonight. Here's me just trying to measure and trying to make the lot kind of like even, if you want to call it. But I actually made this in the remembrance of actually a very bad dream that I had. No, I'm just literally, it's just, this hospital's been in my freaking like my mind for years now. I've been having a really bad nightmare because of it. So I was thinking like, why not kind of build it on The Sims 4, because it does work, and how it eventually starts turning out, it actually looks like a real hospital, real clinic. And so little story is, this is just a small town rural hospital. We used to have these a lot in our smaller towns here in Saskatchewan. Mostly, I think Humboldt still has their hospital. I know Bigger does, but no, that's the only two places I do remember that had the hospitals and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, we're just building The Sims 4 and making this look really pretty. I like the way this turned out. I really did. So here's just me trying to figure out the measurements, because I was trying to figure out everything, like if I wanted to make the overhang bigger or larger. I had a really hard time because I made the hospital the way it was the first point of time. And then I went back and I kept re-adding onto it. Because I remembered when it was just about done, I eventually figured out that I had no hospital area for doctors to do anything with their patients or anything. So I thought, well, I had to go back and redo this. And I did. And I hated it because it was like, eventually the way it turned out, like there's basically a helicopter pad on the top. And it's basically a helipad. And it's on top of the hospital, and there's actually another surgery on top of the hospital as well. So my story is, if we have trauma come in, they go up into the trauma bay, and they go right into triage. So me being an ex-medical, I kind of know a lot of that kind of stuff. So, I was thinking about, it's The Sims 4, but I like to build realism. And I like to make hospitals very extremely realistic. I just wish there was a lot more realistic items for the clinical aspect. I think The Sims 4 needs to go back and fix that. The machines and stuff, they do not look like they are in the hospitals. I'm just saying, and mainly for like the there's no MRI of the machine. There's no proper X-ray machine. It looks like a stupid whatever sci-fi thing it is. But I made sure that there was a cafeteria on top on the side of it. So if you're doing an entire one-day thing and you're working in the hospital, usually that kind of does work. Something's going on with my game again. I think I might need to update UI scales or something, or check out something else. So I just realized that I did not need to put a full overhang over that car park right there. So I just went back and I refixed it. This roof, oh my god. So first I put an upstairs, and I decided, okay, we're not going to do the upstairs. So I got rid of the upstairs. And then I figured out that, okay, I'm running out of room, and there's not enough realism into this build. And also, a little bit of the story is, I watch a lot of abandonment hospitals and stuff like that, and asylums, and kind of cool, spooky kind of stuff. And the way this was actually built really brought into the old style that this hospital used to be run back in the 1940s. And then they revamped it, but a lot of the older ideas and the older styles are still there. So that's pretty cool. I had a huge issue with this chunk not wanting to go into a thing. So I don't know what was wrong with it. So it's whatever. We got it eventually fixed. This was just an entire long build that I hate doing to myself, because instead of doing like a very easy 6-minute build, I'm doing 4 days worth. And I'm literally like so tired some days that I can't even just log off the computer or save it and exit out the computer, that I needed to basically just leave it alone. And that's what I've been doing for the past couple of days, is I just say, okay, screw this, I'm going to bed. And sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. But I really like the way that eventually it did turn out. And I'm actually thinking about maybe getting a fire engine in there too. Somehow it'd be kind of cool, like if you have a fire engine coming up behind the ambulance and stuff. We do have a lot of that stuff happen here too, with the fire and stuff. Everyone goes in, if one of the firefighters are injured or whatever. I think this is when I paused for another day. Or sometimes I just get really tired and I want to go watch some YouTube. I pause and I go, and I pause and I go, and then I go back. I'm using a lot of this SYB Hypocrite, I think it's called. And I really like the items. I did not like the front area, but I think I might go back and put it in, just because it's just not looking the way I want it to look. So I might change it. I don't know yet. But anyways, I brought a lot of the old style 1940s into this hospital. It actually really reminds me of my hometown of Delisle. We used to have an older style hospital that eventually it got torn down because it started falling apart, and it was very, very haunted. And I remember going to we did some stuff called spirit walks or ghost walks in like Halloween time in where I used to live. And we used to always go around where the old hospital used to be, and we used to get some amazing EVP sessions on there. But, yeah, that's kind of cool stuff. It's a lot of memories when you're just a young kid and you don't really know stupid stuff, and you find out that, they can kind of follow you home, and I wish I did not go and do that. That little room off of the waiting room, that's going to be a playroom for the kids. I don't know. I just like it if you have peds in there, pediatrics. Those littler people are going to have some issues. Here's me trying to think about how I want to do the cafeteria. And the way it turned out, it's not fully finished, and I need to still do more clutter items eventually. But I had a huge problem trying to figure this out. I didn't know eventually how I wanted it to be presented. I know this isn't going to be a full cafeteria, but I wanted something that's meant for a smaller rural hospital that is actually meant for a rural hospital. And if I'm talking about rural, I'm talking about hospitals outside of like bigger, larger cities. And that is basically what people call us people, or farmers. It's rural. So we have smaller hospitals or clinics outside of the city or town, and they're called rural. And that's something that it brings me back a lot of memories as a child too, is because if we're going in and out of the city, there's actually still kids to this day still coming in and out of all the rural smaller towns, going into like any of the larger cities to go to school still. It depends on if they were going to a private school, and they'd go on to buses and stuff. Minors. If they're going to and from work, some minors are coming in on school buses. A lot of people don't know. I have so many stories of living out of town, and I lived all my life out of the city. I didn't, from like 24, I finally moved to the city. And after I moved to the city, it was the worst timing of my life. Because I went from being out of town, being in a rural environment, people know who everyone is, and then you're just lost. You don't know where and what you are doing. You don't know the proper places or dates and times of the restaurants or businesses that are open. You eventually, as a special needs person, learn. And it's really hard to go from a smaller town to a bigger city. And I'm not just stating a fact. I say I'm leaving a rural town that was probably 1,000 people, give or take now, and going to about millions of people around the city, right? And Saskatoon has tripled since I moved to the city. But I've actually learned to stay in my areas that I know. And sometimes that's what you gotta do. So a lot of these buildings that I do build in The Sims 4 comes into the memory and the style of building that I would like to have. Now, these stupid showers were the worst to use. I don't know if they can be reused. I don't know if they can be used. I haven't really tried much really out. I was having issues with these elevators because you can only place one on a lot. And I just kind of got sick of it because I didn't really know what to do. See, so then I had to go get another mod and mod it, and I had to stop the video because I had to bring the mod in, then I had to, and eventually I was just getting sick of it, and I think I just eventually just gave up, went to bed. And these are the rooms I was talking about, is with, you got one bed, and they're basically private rooms. So we got 3 or 4 private rooms in this hospital alone. And the rest is shareable spaces. But, you know, that's how it is in some of those smaller rural hospitals. So you might have 5 or 6 designated rooms for people that don't want to be around everyone else because you can't stand them snoring. That's another story for another day, guys. But, yeah, no, it's not fun. The surgery room, that is another reason why I like to bring the realism, because this is where I started bringing the 2 patients, or 4 beds per room, and this is basically doctors' rooms as well as patients. So doctors are going in, seeing the patients, and they're going from there. Eventually I did put a nurse station in there, and I got rid of a bigger room, and the bigger room is actually going to be a janitor's closet, because I remembered that some hospitals have janitor closets, and I was like, okay, we need to get that in there. Those three little windows are going to get moved out, because I'm going to put some stained glass in. I just came back from an entire nice little stroll around the block tonight, and I'm absolutely I'm still really cool. It was like, I'll be like +4 or +5 outside. It was really cool. That's like Celsius, so. But no, I've noticed a lot of my videos, I've noticed this the past couple of days, that if I'm doing multiple, I would be like called away and say, hey, can you go do this? Can you do that? And it's been a really hectic 5 days in our house. We got the electric smoker, and you know, when I am cooking, I'm the one that's stuck smoking the food. It's supposed to be Tim's Father's Day present, and I'm the one that's doing it all. Like, what the heck? I didn't buy it for myself. I bought it for Tim. I hate when that actually happens. But if you guys don't know, this is the way the hospitals actually is in a lot of the rural cities. You have a small, tiny car park in the front. And sometimes you have cars parking on the street. I'm having issues with this ramp because my memory for a lot of this is you want to have a ramp to bring down the gurneys from the helicopter pad. And you can't really reuse the ramp because I've actually tried that. You can't really use the ramp. But for decoration purposes, it's there. There is stairs, magical stairs that goes there. So it'll actually look like the Sims are using the stairs, but the Sims are not using the stairs. So that's just pretty cool the way I did it. And I've been also finding out that a lot of my Sims 4 building is starting to become so much more better. Now here's me trying to test out the Sim. And I'm trying to test out the Sim because we wanted to try to figure out to fix the elevators, and I was having issues with these elevators. I was testing to see if we can use the ramp. We cannot at all use the ramp. But you can use those stairs because the Sims go right through that ramp. It's basically like a debug item. You just go right through. And I love these doors from the SYB Hypocrite. They actually scream hospital and they scream clinic-like, and I really like that. This is the upstairs trauma surgery that I'm actually sort of adding stuff to the hospital, but I'm not at the same time. So I'm adding some stuff, but I'm not adding enough, and it's whatever. Okay, it works. I like to add a few things here or there, and then eventually add things. Now this is the main room upstairs that I really like because it screams the 1940s old style hospitals that we used to have back then, and they still do today in our hospitals as patient rooms have these styles. And I just wanted to do one little downstairs. One room upstairs to do it because I wanted something that screams the ideas and stuff. And then here's me putting a nurse station in upstairs. So I put a nurse station upstairs and a nurse station downstairs. And since there was no sinks for the doctors to wash up before they do any of the work on their patients, I did put a sink, however, in the nurse station down below, and it worked pretty well. I like the way I put that trash can. It was pretty neat. I also added doctor's main office area, which, to be honest with you, turned out pretty awesome. Yeah, and I would actually put some more bathrooms upstairs and downstairs. So there's bathrooms upstairs and bathrooms downstairs. So it's nothing really too fancy for these bathrooms. Like eventually I'll go put like more mirrors and stuff in, and but that's just basically it. And I love these old style 1940s windows. I just love it. It comes out to be so perfect. And it's just really not really much to say about this beautiful hospital that we have here. But I'm literally just trying to place some stuff, and I'm trying to figure out how I wanted to do this and how I wanted to start, adding stuff. And then I had to add that little area there because it wasn't looking right. So I added that little area as a dummy area. So we'll just leave it. A lot of dead spaces are behind walls anyways in a lot of the older hospitals. In the old labor and delivery ward where my father used to have to go and revamp it back in the 70s. Sorry, that was one of my cats playing. They found an entire empty ward that wasn't touched for like 25 years. And it was literally just plastered right behind an old wall. So that was pretty cool. And after that, it was more of these weird horror hospital stories that I got from them. And I think that's where I got a lot of my horror kind of things happen with my bad dreams and stuff like that, because I didn't really fully fathom of really what was going on. Oh, and I had an issue with the texturings on the outside walls of the hospital. I eventually figured it all out, and I love it. It was pretty. It was actually perfect, to be honest with you. And I know nothing's perfect, but, don't ever say that to me in my life, because I I'd look at you like, you're crazy. But anyways, and there's the helicopter pad I'm talking about, and that one is actually animated. So once in a while, you'll see like basically a helicopter landing and then lifting off. And that one actually has an emergency helicopter function. So it's pretty cool because all of a sudden you see these emergency ambulance elevator, helicopter ambulance coming in and out. And it's so animated. I just love it. It's awesome. Oh, and I'm putting a couple, maybe a fountain in the front. And I'm actually figuring out just put a solid wall there. Just to break it up and make it look a little bit more neater. Tomorrow, I actually might add that wall as a room of some sort, just to make it look even for the hospital, because it would really, really, really weird if we left it like that. Anyways, we're just trying to finish up, just adding a few things. And then eventually we're going to add a little bit extra things. And now here's trying to figure me out is the locker situation with a lot of these rooms. There's really no places for the patients to put any of their clothes in, any of their items or personal items. So I did put those fake lockers in just to make it look like it was supposed to be like it. And here's me just adding ongoing texturing. I wanted white sterile walls with a little bit of country style cladding on the sides of it, and I did that way because it actually screams old style country hospital, and I loved it. And it's gonna stick because I really like the way it turned out. I did, however, figured it out that I might have messed up a little bit. So here's me bringing in a lot of the newer walls of the hospital because I needed to bring into more of the walls in to make the overhang hang out way more than it was. So I don't know. I feel like it looks like a box and it screams like a box, but it looks like a hospital and it's pretty cute. I really like it. I like it so much. It's cool. And here's me just trying to figure out this stupid parking lot. It was, that parking lot was bad. That parking lot was the worst to build on. I've done recent parking lots recently. It was easier to do that one. But no, that one was difficult. That was hard because I didn't know what cars and stuff I wanted to place and stuff. And I'm still actually not done at all. I still got other things, ideas. And you hear that in the background. That's my fixed male thinking like he's telling all the females like this is my house. But that's Garfield for you. Oh, and here's me going in, and I had to literally make a wall, and I had to delete a couple of his beds because I'm putting in I'm putting in a sink where the doctors can wash up, change their gloves out. And we're just adding things in. It makes it, after I do what I did, it made so many memories when I was a kid. And I have a lot of stuff outside, so I'm adding everything into this hospital. And I'm having difficulties thinking on which shelf I wanted to use. But I really like the way I started just adding everything in. And I'm going all around the hospitals and placing that fake map of the hospital. Oh yeah, and here's me removing some beds because I needed to get some more lockers in, and I'm putting surgical lights in, and I don't know. I kind of like the way this upstairs turned out. It looks pretty cool. And there's a little line of wheelchairs and stuff, and kind of screams, I just love it. It screams like a hospital upstairs. It's just so cool. And then I'm adding more and more details. I don't know. And then here's where I put the nurse station eventually. And that is a little labor and delivery ward right there. It is because I have a mod that's called Better Delivery or something, and I wanted to have that table right there. But yeah, I know I'm adding a nurse station downstairs as well. And I was having difficulties because the desk wasn't lining up to where everything should have been. But anyways, hit the like, subscribe button down below, everyone, and I hope you all enjoy your rest of your evening. Stay safe, everyone. It has been tremendously busy in my house, but hit the like, subscribe button down below, and hope you all have a great day tomorrow. Sorry for the late videos, guys. I'll try to be on my game tomorrow. Bye, everyone.